Hi guys and welcome to the channel. In today's episode we are looking at the brand new re-released steering guard for Defender by Mantec. Now the Mantec steering guard is an iconic piece of Defender history, and that's because it was developed primarily to protect the vehicles that were going into the Camel Trophy events. So Mantec were approached by Land Rover to design and manufacture a steering guard that would be suitable for those rugged events, but also available as an aftermarket option. So that means that the Mantec steering guard was actually a Land Rover part, and you could order one of those back in the day for about £600. Now they haven't been in production for some time, and this design really was the basis that most steering guards were evolved from that you see today. And there's a whole host of steering guards out there, but there are some big differences. Now I think it's really important just to stress how much work has gone into the design of the Mantec steering guard. Back in the day, it was basically a clean sheet, and they needed to design something that was universal for left-hand and right-hand drive vehicles. And secondly, they needed the steering guard to actually protect the vehicle. Now, unfortunately, as we've gone on over the decades, steering guards have become a very cosmetic addition to a lot of Defenders. And you can buy a steering guard out there for about £150. But generally, these aren't going to perform as well as you need them to if you're going seriously off-roading. And if you're doing a restoration, for instance, and you want it to be period correct, the Mantec steering guard is the original. Now, it's only recently that the Mantec steering guard has become available again, so it's been off the shelves for some years, and there have been a few little changes, and I'm proud to say that I was a little bit of a part of those design changes. Now, they're minuscule, and really there's no way you could improve on this design, but I am going to run through a couple of things that we did with Mantec just to sort of create this version ready for today's market. It's really important for Mantec to have all of their products manufactured here in the UK, and this is no exception. So every part of this kit is made in the UK. It's assembled here in Liverpool, and you'll see just how much detail is included. What you want to be very careful on is when you're opening your steering guard, don't score the knife on anything, because you'll see the finish and the quality of the metal. You don't want to be marking that at all. So let's have a little look. So first thing first, we've got the guard itself. Really important, first things first, this is a big plate. So it's actually wider than the majority of steering guards out there, and that is because it's designed to be compatible with left-hand drive and right-hand drive vehicles. So it's 8mm thick aluminium. It's got a really nice clean finish on it. Now, for those of you who know about your history of the Camel Trophy, you'll notice that there are some instantly there's a little difference here on the design, and what you can see here is we've got these countersunk holes. Now, part of that has been developed because the technology of countersunk bolts actually wasn't that widely used back in the day. Certainly in the early 90s, it's really only prevalent nowadays. But the beauty of this is, one thing you want a steering guard to do is you want it to glide over obstacles. And if you've got exposed button head bolts, which is what you used to have on the steering guard, there is a chance that they're going to get hung up on rocks. And not only will that affect the performance of the steering guard, but also it could damage the bolts. And if you have to service your vehicle and remove this, if they're damaged, it's going to be a lot harder to get them off. And the second reason this is really good, and you might not know this, but a lot of these steering guards have been fitted incorrectly. So I'll show you a couple of pictures here. Now you can see the steering guard here on the Camel Trophy vehicle, and this is how it was fitted in the factory in Land Rover. But obviously people have been restoring these vehicles over time, and they've been buying the steering guard to add to their vehicles. And you can see on this picture here, this is a fully restored Camel Trophy vehicle, and unfortunately they actually put the steering guard on back to front, and you can see that that's the case because it's going to catch on obstacles. Now, the other thing about having a countersunk bolt is you can only fit this one way, and that is the right way. So you know as soon as you put this onto the plate that that's going to be the right way round, and so there's no mistake on getting it on correctly. So we've got our 8mm plate, and that is a very substantial piece of kit. Now, the thing that really sets the Mantec steering guard aside from the competition is this massively strong brace frame, and the design of this really is probably strong enough to perform its task on its own. So unlike other designs where you've only got the two end plates and they're mounted to the steering guard, and it gives it its sort of structure, if you like, because of the supports, but you're always going to have that parallelogram weakness on a 3-point frame, whereas this is fully welded steel. This is the frame that protects your vehicle. So I think the idea and the design of a steering guard has kind of been lost in translation over the years, because ultimately this piece here is your steering guard, and this was always designed to protect your steering components on the Defender. And the reason they added this part here wasn't really to protect anything, it was just to make gliding over obstacles a lot easier on your vehicle. So this had a separate purpose, and I think when we look at the way steering guards have evolved, obviously they've been built to a cost, and a lot of people have fitted steering guards in the past for cosmetic reasons, and there's nothing wrong with that. You want your vehicle to look the part, and I totally get that, but if you want something to actually perform as a steering guard, you cannot beat the original Mantec steering guard, because there is nothing getting past this frame. So if I get it assembled, that's going to bring us to the next part of the evolution of this version 2, if you like, of the Mantec steering guard, and that is the full use of stainless hardware. Now, stainless steel hardware has come a long, long way over the years, and Mantec worked with YRM, who are specialists in stainless steel hardware, to develop a bolt kit exclusively for this steering guard. So every single piece of hardware that you use to put it together is stainless steel. Now, the strength of all the bolts is graded correctly in compliance with the original bolts, but you're just benefiting from stainless steel. But, as many of you will point out, stainless steel and aluminium are not best friends, so you're always going to have a little issue. And again, my advice would be put some copper slip on the inside of these countersunk faces when you fit your bolts, and that way you're creating a barrier between the stainless steel bolt and the aluminium, and you won't get that oxidization as quickly. It's bound to come through eventually when the copper grease dries through, but certainly, you know, with general maintenance, you're going to basically keep this looking as good as possible. I think when I did mine, I put the frame on first, and then I added this plate, which is fairly easy, and you can get your hands in and around everything, but to be fair, there's no reason why you can't just actually fit the plate onto the bracket. It doesn't really restrict access to any of the bolts, and it just means you've got just one piece to offer up and get in position. So when you're actually going to put the plate on, you need to make sure that the thinner mounting face is at the top. So you've got a thin face there, you've got a broader, thicker face there, and that is the bottom of the guard. And then the plate sits on the vehicle with the narrow piece here that sits just under your bumper, and then you've got the curve that faces back towards the vehicle. So here we have the second generation Mantec steering guard mounted and fitted onto our Project 110, and I just thought I'd show you how simple it is to fit these. So here you've got the main arm behind here for the steering box, and you can safely, as long as the vehicle's on the ground, you can safely take those two bolts out, and you can replace them with the two bolts that are supplied. There is enough thread on the third bolt to allow you to refit your towing eye, and that gives you room on the side there, so you can still have your towing eyes fitted. And then on the other side, again, your non-steering side, depending if you're left or right-hand drive, it's a very similar arrangement. You've got your bolt here, again for your towing eye, and then you've just got two bolts here. And where you've got the steering arm brace missing there, that's where you'd use your spacer tubes in there to replace the meat, if you like, that's missing from the steering arms. And you can see the way it's been fitted. You've actually got this upper lip sits horizontal underneath the bumper, and then down here you actually got the plate goes down and then goes horizontal again underneath. If you're going for a classic restoration, if you've got a vehicle, you want it to be period correct, and you're going for that really honest, genuine restoration, and you want to fit a steering guard because it fits the design of your vehicle, then the Mantec is going to be the only way you're going to get that to look authentic. This was the original steering guard made for Land Rover back in the day, so if you want to add a steering guard to your classic faithful restoration, then the Mantec steering guard is really the only way to go forward. So I hope that's not too much of a history lesson for you, but I really am passionate about product design. It's what I trained in, and I love the fact that this is 30 years old, this design, but it outperforms any other steering guard that I've come across. Now, because this is a brand new product launch, and it's a bit of a celebration really for Mantec, they're giving away a free t-shirt with the first 20 steering guards that get ordered. So all you have to do is when you place an order, if you want one of these, on lrparts.net, if you just put a little message with your order stating the size of the t-shirt you want, you'll get an exclusive LR Live Mantec t-shirt with your steering guard. So how's that? So thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please do give me a thumbs up. Please do subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll catch you on the next one.